How are you lovely people doing today? My name is John, and welcome to another beautiful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. This wonderful episode has been brought to you by the fantastic people over at OneUp Box. They are a fantastic service where every month you can get gaming and pop culture stuff sent to your house in an amazing package that is just incredibly fun to open up every month. A link to them is down below, and more about them at the end of the episode. This is the series where I take your questions about the zombie storyline and answer them. Whether it's a big, a small, or a simple question, I'm always more than happy to take it on, so either leave them down below or tweet me at JohnnyJ25. Without further ado, let's begin. Today's episode will begin with a question from Cupcake717, who asks, "Hey, who made the Pack-a-Punch? Your videos are A+. So first off, thank you very much for the compliment. Who made the Pack-a-Punch? This is something we've been never directly told. We've had the Pack-a-Punch in the realm of zombies ever since it was first introduced on the map Deriz. We initially believed that it was created by a member of Group 935 because, of course, Deriz is a Group 935 facility, and this is where we first saw it. That's all we knew though. Nobody ever gave us a name of who created the Pack-a-Punch. However, Treyarch has given us two hints in the form of character quotes on the map Giant that makes us rethink who actually created the Pack-a-Punch machine. Take a listen.
This machine's been everywhere I have. France, Brazil, even the damn moon.
This machine was built by a good man, a blacksmith in the Old West. I hope I can one day thank him.
So Richtofen mentions that this machine, the Pack-a-Punch, was created by somebody in the West. He was a blacksmith. Now, the way he speaks about this man is as if he does not personally know him, which leads me to believe that he's not a member of Group 935. So it couldn't be Dr. Maxis, it couldn't be Schuster, it couldn't be Groff, it couldn't be Richtofen himself. This machine was created by somebody independent. He also mentions that he's from the Old West and he's a blacksmith. Now, this doesn't exactly pin down a character we know specifically. There have been theories that Michael Faraday is involved in the zombie storyline, especially when we consider that his pictures are on the map Buried, and Buried is an Old West town. So quite possibly it is Michael Faraday who created the Pack-a-Punch, but we don't have any proof. We only have suspicions and theories that he is the person who owns the mansion in Barry, but that's the only real connection we can draw to him in zombies. But maybe the town of Buried is a lot more important. Maybe that's the origin town of the Pack-a-Punch, and maybe one of the men who originally lived in that town, the town blacksmith, was actually the one who created the device. Another interesting thing to mention from the Dempsey quote is the fact that he says this machine followed them everywhere. Now, I originally did a video on this quote, and I did a video on this quote because I found it interesting that Dempsey mentioned Brazil, a map which we have never played on, but forget about that, that's not important. The important part is that this machine is following them, and the machines that follow them have a very important characteristic. The perk machines are a machine that follows people. The summoning key is a device that has been following people, and as evident by the box, it's been in many locations. I don't know who created the summoning key, but I can tell you that one character who is become very relevant in the zombie storyline as of lately is involved with this key, Dr. Monty. We know this because he owns a blueprint of the device he created, which he signed, so we know he is the author of this blueprint, and we believe him to be the creator of the perk machines because Dr. Monty's factory features many different perk bottles in the background. So if Dr. Monty is involved in the summoning key as well as the perk machines, which are devices that follow people, and the Pack-a-Punch is a device that follows people, then it's not too far-fetched to suggest that the Pack-a-Punch was actually created by Dr. Monty. And maybe Dr. Monty is this legendary scientist. He's a man that is kind of, I guess, detached from everything, which is why Richtofen does not personally know him. They only know about him through legends and just stories, and he is the one who created the Pack-a-Punch, and for some reason, he is able to have these devices follow people around on their travels. That, at least right now, I believe, is the best theory as to who created the Pack-a-Punch. Either Dr. Monty or possibly some Western man we have not met. And it isn't too far-fetched to suggest that maybe Dr. Monty is that man from the Old West. And the town of Buried is incredibly important because that's actually where Dr. Monty came from. Of course, that's just a theory though, don't go spouting that off as fact. Moving on, we have a question from CDB Terminator who asks, the formless one, could it be Dr. Monty? This is a follow-up question to a question that I tackled on a previous Q&A. We were discussing the cipher found on the map Shadows of Evil that decodes to read the formless one will be their downfall. Now, I propagated the theory that the formless one is actually Dr. Maxis, and in the tragic story arc, he will be the one to create their downfall. It could very well be, though, that Dr. Monty is the formless one. Of course, he's a new character who we've yet to really see in any physical form, and at the moment, for all we know, he is formless, but I don't think he's actually the one who will be their downfall. You see, there are many ciphers found on the map Shadows of Evil, and they almost come together like a conversation. People who are isolated from everything watching our characters. One of the ciphers mentions that M is interested in these worthless beings and all his work will be undone. Now, who's M, Maxis or Monty? I think it's Monty. What I believe is that Dr. Monty, as mentioned in the previous question, is kind of an independent being. He is in a way isolated from everything going on, but he's very interested in what our characters are up to, and quite possibly, maybe he's lending them a hand by using interdimensional travel to make sure that the Pack-a-Punch and the perk machines follow them wherever they go. That could very well be what's happening, and if this is the case, then Dr. Monty is an ally. I don't think he would be their downfall. I believe that it makes much more sense for Maxis to be the downfall, because this would follow the classic sort of tragic story arc that constantly Maxis finds himself surrounded in. He was a tragic character in Black Ops 1, and he could be a tragic character in Black Ops 2 if the formless one, Maxis being the formless one, ultimately is their downfall. We have this character who just wants to make the world better, but by bettering the world, he actually makes the world worse. So I think that Dr. Monty is not the formless one. However, he could quite possibly be, and we're going to have to wait and see. Today's episode's going to end with a question from Christian Lerma, who asks, where did the parasites come from? As I've mentioned previously before, Shadows of Evil was heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft and the many creations within the Cthulhu mythos. Treyarch is clearly influenced by them, and it's very obvious because a lot of the creatures and a lot of the stories that we've found in Shadows of Evil parallel things that went on in the writings of Lovecraft. So this is the best place to look when you are trying to find where things came from in the zombie storyline. I can't go in depth and give you a detailed sort of history of the parasites found in Shadows of Evil. I can only suspect that they are creatures from the realm that the Overlords are from. The Overlords are supposedly Cthulhu and the many other gods in that realm. And that's where the parasites come from. They bring them into this realm to sort of add to the torment. But what were the inspiration for the parasites? Well, I believe they were a creature called the Migo. The Migo, as described by the Lovecraft Wiki, is a pinkish fungoid crustacean-like entity with a convoluted ellipsoid composed of a pyramided fleshy rings and covered in an antenna where the head would normally be. They're about 5 feet long, and their crustacean-like bodies bear numerous sets of appendages. They also possess a membranous bat-like wing, which are used to fly through the ether out of space. The only real differences between the Migo and the parasite would be the color scheme as well as the size. Of course, the parasites are not 5 feet long, and they're also not purple. They're gray with a yellow glow. But I think Treyarch can take some creative liberty when creating characters in their game. They want something that pops, and a bright yellow is what pops, especially more than a pink, especially like a darker pink. So that's what I think the inspiration for the parasite was. This is the closest creature in all of the Cthulhu mythos to the parasite. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be wrapping up this wonderful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. Now, as mentioned previously, this fantastic episode was brought to you by the amazing people over at OneUp Box. OneUp Box is a wonderful service where every month they will send you a box filled with a bunch of gaming and pop culture stuff, as well as one exclusive t-shirt you cannot get anywhere else. And honestly, the best part about this box is opening it up and the surprise. you have no idea what's going to be in the box. You might have an idea based on the theme, but beyond that, it could be anything, and that's so much fun. It's like Christmas in a box. And honestly, just receiving the box was incredibly exciting because I wanted to open it up right away just to see what was inside. So let's crack this bad boy open. Let's take my handy dandy knife, slide it right here, and ba-da-da-da! Oh man, now let's check this out. So we've got oh my god, this is fantastic. So this is the t-shirt right here. Oh my god, so you got Luke and Leia under, I guess it's Chewbacca, but I think Chewbacca is based off a different character. And they're in their, oh my, this t-shirt is honestly just, this is adorable and this is awesome in so many different ways. It's freaking cool. I'm planning on wearing this right after this shoot. Oh my god, so you got a little plush Chewbacca, which is pretty sweet. This guy's nice. So inside you've also got a lanyard, and this is pretty sweet. We've got a bunch of characters: Darth Vader, Princess Leia, Yoda, Stormtroopers, X-Wings. This is pretty sweet. I might actually put my car keys on this. And we have something that is inflatable. Oh my god, is this an okay, so this is an inflatable lightsaber. This is pretty sweet. I gotta blow this up, one moment. Okay, so this is pretty awesome. This is a blow-up lightsaber, and if you and your friends get OneUp Box, it's using the coupon code AWESOME. You guys can have some amazing duels with these lightsabers. And let's check out what else is in the box. So we've got a sticker right here featuring a raccoon. I don't recognize this raccoon, but this is pretty cool. It's pretty cute. We've also got a pin. This will be going on my corkboard featuring Wally, December 2015, the Galaxy Edition. So I believe that's the theme of this box. And you also have, what is this? Little piece of cardboard, always wonderful. Cardboard is fantastic. And some pretty awesome, what is this? Okay, so this is pretty sweet. This is Captain Kirby, which is a mashup of Star Trek and Kirby, which is pretty sweet. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Galaxy Edition of the OneUp Box. And quite honestly, when I heard it was going to be the Galaxy Edition and I knew there was going to be Star Wars stuff, that's when I was incredibly pumped. And that's the best part about it. You don't know what's in it. You know there's going to be a theme, but beyond that, there's just a big surprise. And it's honestly like Christmas in a box. So I would recommend you get your own OneUp Box. The link down below. Use the coupon code AWESOME, and that'll get you your first order for the month just under $10. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be wrapping up this beautiful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. As always, you can either leave your questions down below, or you can tweet me at JohnnyJ25. And if you enjoyed this episode, I'm sure you'll love the next one, so be sure to subscribe. I'm gonna go though, have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.